Hello and welcome back to ArchiCAD in Minutes. In today's lesson, we are going to look at model view option, that is MVO. In our previous lesson, we look at layer and layer combinations and how you can create your layer and how to create different layer combinations for your project. So in today's lesson, we are looking at model view. You come down to documents and come down to model view. So in model view is how you control different elements, how you visualize them without actually changing those elements. So for example now, coming down to our model view options, and then we have these model view combinations. So in this, you can see we only have for sites, drafting, building plans, ceiling plans, sections, and elevations. So if you look at it, basically, we have construction elements, cutting walls options, staircase option, railing options, detail level of stairs and railing symbols. So this one controlled based on your own documentation that you have at the end of the day. If, for example, you want to present a drawing as a presentation drawing, there are some certain levels of detail that you don't need to show. So model view options helps you in actualizing that without actually hiding those layers. For example, coming down to drafting, and then we have our doors, windows, skylights opening. So in this case, we can leave it as drafting, or we can have one that we call it presentation drawing. So in drafting, you don't need to see your marker, that is your door ID, or your windows ID, or your skylight ID, or your opening axis line. So likewise, if you are dealing with zone, maybe you just want to have it as a presentation, give it a different color, it will not show zone stamps. And then columns, is it with symbols or without symbols? So it gives you that. If it is with marker, it gives you with marker. So you can control this using model view options. When we come to building plans, if you look at it, all of these have with markers. If you come down to cutting walls option in drafting, we have some level of details. So how do you want it simplified? Do you want it more detailed? So you can have it. So sometimes it's even reduce the processing time of your laptop. So I'm looking at this one on ceiling plan. We just want it to show only opening. So that's why if you're dealing with reflected ceiling plan, you will not see the door opens and rest. So you have it just as a reflected ceiling plans. So all of this one show openings only. But under this, show entire window, show entire door. So for our staircase, we can have it as a schematic. You can have it with headroom. You can have it fully. Under railing option, we'll have it whether is it simplified or is it schematic. If you look at it, so you can visualize some of these details in 3D. If you don't want it to be a heavy 3D, you can have it as a schematic. Then detail level of staircase and railing, details level of curtain wall, doors and windows. So if you want your doors to be fully detailed, you click on this. If you want it to just be simplified, under drafting, for example, I can make it to be simplified. And then window, I can make it to be simplified. So detail level of doors. So if I want it in 3D for it to be highly detailed, I click on this. And this one, you can have it schematic, you can have it fully detailed. You can have it schematic and fully detailed. So likewise this. So if you want to create a new, for example, I want to duplicate this, I can create new, and then I can add So I can modify from this. So I can have it as a building plan if you are a person that deal with more of mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So you can have building plans for MEP. You can have another one you create it for presentation drawings. So this is how you go about the settings. So for example, now coming down here, if you look at this, we have our model view options, which is under building plans. So if we change this one now, for example, to drafting, if you notice that our bed become less detailed, our kitchen appliances become a bit less detailed, and then our windows, they don't have window tags. So in this case, even our cars is not fully detailed. So you control this by using model view options. If I want to change it now to building plans the way it is, so I'm going to have this at the end of the day. If for example, I come down to ceiling plan, if I click on ground floor, you will see that it become like this. All the doors and windows, they change the opening. We don't have that opening anymore. So this one is for ceiling plan. If you look at it under here, it's under ceiling plans. That's for the model view options. So this is how you control objects, elements without actually changing them or hiding them completely. So that's all for today, and that's all for MVO. You can play around with it and customize your own. Thank you, and see you in our next lesson.